Hey there, folks. It's Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know all the things to do. They help the channel out tremendously, and I thank you for that. Today, we are going back to the well with Action 53, 54, whatever you want to call it. Action 53 Volume 4. And we're looking at the Alfonzo game from Spoony Bard Productions. A name that I already love just on the surface. You, Spoony Bard! I know that's supposedly a wrong translation or a mistake in localization, but it became so legendary that they actually ended up having to put it back into Final Fantasy games they took it out of when they tried to correct it. Spoony Bard is much more fun. And I want a t-shirt that says that. And I know there are many available, but I've never gotten around to buying one, and I really should. Anyway, the Alfonzo game is ostensibly a platformer about collecting fish, but it turns out to be a puzzle-solving game as much as it is a platforming game, because there are things that you need to do to get the fish that are not immediately obvious. Like, here the sign told me to slide on the ice for a boost, but I thought the cloud was a platform, so I was trying to land on the cloud once I got the boost, and that was not working for me at all. Game over already? Well, no, they are incredibly generous with the continues in the Alfonzo game, so even if you run out of lives, you're not really done. By the way, if I didn't already mention it, this game got finished and re-released as Alfonso's Arctic Adventure for Nintendo Switch, so if you like it enough when you play it for free that you would actually pay for it, go ahead and pay $4.99 for it and get it on the eShop. It's the same game. I mean, it literally looks like the exact same game. I can't see any difference. Spoony Bard Productions is based in California, and they've been around for 25 years, according to their own website, 1997 to 2022. And if the name seems familiar, it's because they've also done games like Jay and Silent Bob's Mall Brawl, which I own a physical copy of, and it would be nice if I could get a physical copy of this for NES, but maybe that'll come in the future via somebody like Limited Run Games, because they seem to have gotten comfortable with the idea of releasing physical NES games in small print runs, although pre-ordering them, you end up waiting a really long time to get them. Anyway, here's what Spoony Bard has to say about the finished version of the game they released on Switch. Based on the beloved Naughty's Flash cartoon, you take the role of Alfonzo on a quest to find your missing best friend Bob. Because Bob's favorite food is fish, you decide to collect as many fish as you can while you're searching for him. With your trusty stick at your side, travel through 90 levels filled with crafty puzzles, terrifying traps, and dangerous enemies. Luckily, you aren't alone on your adventure. Your friends are here to help, including the power-punching Magnus, the near-invulnerable Fernwood, and the sword-wielding girl. Collect fish, find Bob, and maybe even save the world along the way. That's a pretty heady plot for a puzzle platformer game that looks cute and innocent on the surface, but I can definitely see there are hidden depths to the Alfonzo game, or Alfonso's Arctic Adventure, whatever you want to call it. I would suspect that this was like a proof of concept for Spoony Bard, and they were thinking, if we can make this work on a platform with the limited resources of the NES, we can flesh it out and make it a full-fledged game, which is available on the Switch eShop, and it turns out it's also available on Xbox One and Series X, as just found out while I was looking at the Spoony Bard website. SpoonyBard.ca, by the way, if you were wondering. So, it turns out this game is even available on Steam, so if you have a Steam Deck, I suppose you can play it there as well. And it's the same price as Nintendo Switch eShop, $4.99. Although it lists an option for itch.io where you can pay $4.99 or more. So I suppose if you wanted to give Spoony Bard more than $4.99, you're entirely welcome to do that. And then you can get a version you can play without Steam, although I suspect it would probably just be an encapsulated package that's the exact same game with a launcher for it. I mean, I don't see much difference between this Alfonzo game that's on Action 53 Volume 4 and Alfonso's Arctic Adventure. they look basically the same, although I'm sure with the unlimited capabilities of digital storefronts and the comparative limitations of an NES cartridge, there's a lot more to the finished game than the version that's given away for free here. But it's a good start, and it definitely makes me want to go further with it. So Spoonie Bar is basically giving out a demo of the game this way. They're like, here, play our demo. If you like it, there's more to come. It seems pretty clear from the website that the finalized release or re-release has more features, because I'll just read you what it says here. 4 different playable characters, 90 levels split into 6 episodes, more than 30 enemies, 7 boss battles, unlockable boss rush, world map, secret exits, password function, 2-player melee, and so much more. So yeah, this is an enhanced version if you get Alfonso's Arctic Adventure, with a lot more than the Alfonso game itself. But quite frankly, I'm just happy a game like this exists, because there are a million role-playing games, hack-and-slash dungeon games, gun-shooting games. We need more cute platforming games. That's probably a little bit of bias on my part, because I grew up with those kind of games, but anything that is a throwback to this style of game, even if it's a brand new modern game, I have so much fun playing games like this. Even when I get stuck trying to figure out how to solve the puzzles. This one was very confusing to me, because I knew that I needed the fish in the satellite to take me across the gap, but I thought maybe I had to break that block on this pole here so that the satellite could move to the other side, and I just couldn't find any way to do that. And I wasn't going to look up a fact. I was going to just keep plugging away at it until I could figure out what I was doing wrong. When you see a sign, by the way, just press up, and then you'll be able to read the sign and find out what it says. I assume that applies to all versions of the game, itch.io, Steam, Xbox, NES, whatever. I can't see why they would change that mechanic. So, yeah, there was something I was clearly not realizing here, and it was that I needed to be an alternate character, because as the game mentions, there are 4 playable characters, and what I needed was the one who can punch down to break through the snow or ice, whatever it is, and he's Magnus. So Magnus is the one that can get the job done, but until I realized that, I was getting nowhere fast. What I needed to do was use Alfonso to get into this little narrow gap here on the left and jump up to that ice hut. And once I got into the ice hut, I could change into Magnus and finish the level. Let me just skip ahead a little and show you what I'm talking about. So in the words of Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. You go in the hut, you turn into Magnus, and now you have the character that can break blocks by punching down. Now, I tried just jumping and collecting all the fish. That was not the right way to do it. Turns out what you need to do is use him to punch down at the platform I was just standing on all the way to the right. You see there are 2 ice blocks over there. And once you've collected the fish underneath there, you can go collect the fish as Magnus, because when he catches the last fish, he won't fall to his death. If you collect all the fish in a level, the level ends immediately when you have all of them. So, yeah, I could just jump and get them all, but then I'm going to fall. That's not the way you do it. You need him to collect the fish in the right order and then grab those last 4 when all the others have been collected. So let me skip ahead a little again. So here we go. Magnus breaks the block underneath him by punching down, avoids the polar bear, collects the fish that are here, and then the fish in the UFO picks you up, takes you back across to the other side of the gap, and then, provided you haven't punched these blocks out, which makes it impossible to finish, you can jump from this block, pick up the last 4 fish, and when you get the last fish, the level immediately ends. There will be new mechanics and new challenges for each level in Alfonso's Arctic Adventure. I mean, I can't 100% say that because I haven't played it all the way to the end yet, but it seems to me that every level I've played so far, they introduce a new mechanic and make you deal with something that you haven't dealt with before. Like in this one, You have to use a seal as a trampoline. I guess his blubber is rubber, so the more you bounce on him, the higher you jump. At first, I thought I was supposed to get the crane to pick up this other human, which seems like the kind of thing a puzzle platform game would make you do, like trick a crane into picking up something other than yourself. But that definitely wasn't the way to do it. It's all about the seal here. You need to get up to that platform, probably knock this guy out unless you're quick enough to jump over him, and then you need to knock out the 2 blocks on either side of the UFO catcher so that the UFO catcher can move all the way to the left while it's carrying you, and you can pick up all these fish that are in the sky over here. You can pick up the other fish that are underneath the UFO catcher first if you want to, or you can pick them up last. It really makes no difference to how you finish the level. You just have to get all of the fish to finish the level, no matter what you do. And definitely don't touch the other human standing on top. You either have to punch him or avoid him. You touch him, it's death. You touch any of the enemies in this game and it's death, but the continue system is so generous that it really doesn't punish you that much for making a mistake or trying to figure out the challenges. So I actually think this would be a good game for kids in that regard, in that you die, but it's not a brutal, gory, merciless death. It's more like, well, try again. You didn't figure it out, but you get another chance. Here you go. It's not overly punishing. Maybe some people would say it's too easy, but I won't be the one to say that because I believe in more accessibility options for more people. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. This has been the Alfonzo game, aka Alfonzo's Arctic Adventure, and I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough. Try it for free. Download Action 53 Volume 4, play it in the emulator or EverDrive of your choice. And if you like the Alfonzo game, go ahead and purchase the full Alfonzo's Arctic Adventure on Switch, Xbox, itch.io, or Steam. And I'll see you again soon for another video.